Stay with us. Today in South Florida starts in about 2 seconds.
You're watching WTVJ NBC6, where the news comes first. This is Today in South Florida.
So it was 12 seconds. I'm sorry.
Wrong again.
Good morning, everybody. It's the end of the week, Friday, beginning of the weekend. I'm Bob Mayer.
And I'm Alicia Ortega. The time now 5:29 as we welcome Mr. Weaver aboard.
Thank you, and good morning to everybody. As the 7-day bicycle rider said, it's nice to have your weekend off.
A South Florida family is grieving, and a Liberty City neighborhood is in shock this morning over the death of a 9-year-old boy. The youngster, an innocent victim of a stolen car chase through a residential neighborhood. Now, the suspect slammed into another car on Northwest 58th Street between 10th and 11th Avenues after a hot pursuit. NBC6 reporter Hank Tester joins us live from Northwest Miami to explain how it all happened. Good morning, Hank.
Well, good morning, Alicia. Yeah, I'm at that intersection right now, and I want to tell you that the police are very careful to say this is not a chase. It was a violent accident. We can tell you right now, no names yet officially released of the dead individual, the 9-year-old boy, or those injured. Reporting live from Liberty City, Hank Tester, NBC6.
All right, thank you much, Hank. We'll check back with you next half hour. 2 weeks ago, we were all stunned by a different kind of chase, the school bus hijacking across Dade County. Now, for the first time, we're hearing exactly how police handled this situation from beginning to end. Now, at first, police didn't know where the hijacked bus was.
You'll also find more construction through the day that they have not wrapped up yet. This one will be here a while northbound on the Palmetto, basically between Kendall and Miller. Expect some lane reductions later this morning. That's the latest look. Back to you.
Thank you, Joe. The time now 5:40. Up next, more changes for Time Warner. Susie Garrett will join us live with all the day's business headlines.
Britain's Queen Mum is in the hospital. We will tell you why.
And dozens of protesters literally bare their feelings at a demonstration in Mexico. We'll be right back.
The stock market is going wild. Its rally continuing, and more changes for Time Warner. CNBC's Susie Garrett joins us now live with all the day's business news. Good morning, Susie.
Good morning, Bob. Good morning, everyone. And that's a quick look at business news this Friday morning. Back to you, Bob. Have a good weekend.
You too, Susie. Thank you. Alicia.
Bob, turning to world news, the faltering Mexican economy sparks an unusual protest. Take a look at this. 4 men who are overdue on bank payments stripped down to their underwear and done signs in protest.
Well, how about a day for birds? Huh?
Oh, like a bird day?
No.
Happy birthday.
You're trying to get rid of me fast, I can tell. Okay, happy birthday, everybody.
And don't forget the Holly Dogs at TY Park on Sunday, their picnic. And don't forget to take us with you in your car.
That's right.
87.7 FM every day, 24 hours a day.
In your car. That's it for us. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you in 27 minutes.
Enjoy your day. It's getting warmer.
27 and a half minutes.
You're watching NBC6, committed to serving South Florida.
Good morning. As the budget standoff continues, the government is closed and there's no end in sight this morning. Some transportation department workers, as well as some associated with Veterans Affairs and Social Security, have been cleared to return to work. But about 800,000 government employees are still idle. They're victims of what is now the longest federal closure in U.S. history today, Friday, November the 17th, 1995.
From NBC News, this is Today with Bryant Gumbel and Katie Couric, live from Studio 1A in Rockefeller Plaza.
And as we greet you on this Friday morning, all eyes remain on the nation's capital, where we never thought we'd say this, but the folks there were hoping there'd be a little more traffic on this Friday morning. Things are moving kind of slow in the nation's capital, as they have now for 4 days, because so many people are staying home, and really there's been no movement. It seems no end in sight.
That's right, and as for somebody who grew up in the Washington area, I know that there are a lot of people who are a bit nervous about the whole situation, particularly given the fact that government is already being downsized.
Right.
You're watching WTVJ NBC6, where the news comes first. This is Channel 6 News at noon.
A stolen car running from police is involved in an accident and a young boy has died. Today, there's certainly enough blame to go around, but different people are pointing different directions. Good afternoon, I'm Kelly Craig.
And I'm Jose Diaz-Balart. A South Florida family is grieving, and a Liberty City neighborhood is in shock this afternoon over the death of a 9-year-old boy. The youngster killed after a stolen car crashed into a residential neighborhood. NBC6 reporter Michael Williams is at Jackson Memorial Hospital with the very latest. Michael.
6 people who were in that car, and several of them still at Jackson Memorial Hospital at this hour. Now, some neighbors say a police chase is what led to this tragedy. Police say the blame lies squarely with 2 car thieves. What we do know is that 9-year-old Rodney LeCount died last night. The accident occurred at 58th Street and 10th Avenue. A stolen Grand Prix ran into this white Nissan at that intersection. Reporting live from Miami, Michael Williams, NBC6.
Michael, thank you very much for that live report, and we will, of course, keep you updated on this still developing story throughout the remainder of this news broadcast and, of course, on later NBC6 news programs beginning tonight at 5 o'clock.
This afternoon, police in Hellendale are investigating the mysterious discovery of a man's body found behind a dumpster. NBC6 reporter Netta Rosa is there with details. Netta?
Kelly, you still will see some investigators behind me. You see that crime scene unit pulling in there. That's in that alley. That's where they found the man. They found him next to a dumpster. There is a trail of blood on the floor. You may not be able to see it now because obviously the truck is there. For now, reporting live from Pembroke Park, Netta Rosa, NBC6.
All right, Netta, thanks very much. 3 South Florida police officers are themselves in hot water this morning. They are accused of being crooks.
GOP candidates and delegates are pouring into the tourist city for the Presidency 3 straw poll. NBC6 political reporter Nick Bogert joins us live from Orlando with the very latest. Nick, are all the candidates there?
A lot of the candidates are here, not all of them. We'll get to that in a second, but that spotlight you mentioned is clearly here. You can see the sea of satellite trucks outside the convention center here in Orlando. Tomorrow's straw vote to be taken in the wake of headlines about Bob Dole's strength in Florida. This is the NBC6 poll we told you about yesterday. Dole 3-1 ahead of his nearest competitor and picking up a lot of steam in Florida over the last couple of months. But the big question here is when and if Bob Dole, Richard Lugar, Arlen Specter, and Phil Gramm, the senators who are candidates, when and if they'll show up. Will they have to stay in Washington because of the government shutdown? So a little chance for those folks to work the crowd. We'll have plenty more on this on later Channel 6 newscast. For now, live in Orlando, Nick Bogert, NBC6.
Nick, thank you very much. And keep it here on NBC6 for continuing coverage of Presidency 3. We'll have live updates from Nick beginning on the Channel 6 news at 5 o'clock.
Well, the federal government shutdown caused by a lack of new budget continues. We'll have more on the congressional debate later in this hour, but some of the littlest victims of the shutdown come from South Florida. Their long-planned trip to Washington turned out a lot different from what they expected. NBC6 reporter Ari Adzer is in Deerfield Beach, following up his exclusive report on how their field trip turned into a kind of a lesson in politics instead of history or geography. Ari?
Kelly, it's certainly an exciting day here for the parents here at Quiet Waters Elementary. This is the group of parents whose kids are in Washington now as we speak, and they're about to get the chance to talk to their kids in Washington via satellite uplink. First, I just want to ask a parent right now. Okay, we'll start with introducing my colleague Pat Collins in Washington, who's there now. Pat, how are the kids doing?
I think the kids are doing great. They had a very long bus ride to get here. It took about 20 hours from down there to get here.
Well, Matthew, how was it going to the Senate last night?
All right, where's Matthew?
Which one?
Matthew?
Matthew Long.
Matthew Long.
Matthew Long. Matthew Long. Come on over here, Matthew. Now, you went to see the Senate last night, didn't you, where they were debating the budget? What was it like there?
It was just very... half of the time I didn't know what they were talking about, but...
Don't worry, neither do we.
We don't either. They were just talking about they just kept debating. It was very... They were slinging mud.
Yeah, do you think you'd like to grow up and be a politician?
No.
All right, which one of you kids is having a birthday?
It's like, not me, man, not me, man.
Oh, I love that.
It was very fun.
And see, we take all this technology for granted because we're in the business, but I bet it was a real thrill for those parents.
I'll tell you something. Going up to D.C. and seeing those beautiful monuments and getting a chance to see the nation's, the whole Capitol Hill area is so impressive. It doesn't matter how old you are.
It's a big thrill for a kid, absolutely.
It is for me every time I go up there. Let's check in with Bob Mayer, and he has some important information. Actually, when we come back, we're going to check with Bob Mayer, who has some important information for people who have had government help after hurricanes. You're going to want to hear about a new gotcha for the government.
Actor Michael Douglas says playing the president wasn't half as exciting as meeting the president. We'll have details, and Princess Di appears to be avoiding any meetings with the Queen. Big shakeup at CBS we're hearing about this week.
Bob Mayer joins us. Bob.
in the works, guys. Employees of CBS bracing today for more cuts. Stockholders of CBS have agreed to the sale of the company to Westinghouse. That leaves only FCC approval now of some TV station license transfers to make it all official. Many stockholders say they don't know what lies ahead for CBS, but that anything would be better than trying to compete under the miserly Larry Tisch. But reports say Westinghouse will squeeze even more revenue from individual stations.
Hi, everybody. I'm Steve Daniels. Up next on NBC6 after Montel, a woman stalked by phone for years, fears for her safety. She tells her story to us first at 5. Plus, a congresswoman's husband takes the money and runs into trouble. We'll tell you where the search for Waldholtz ends. And if you're looking to lower your cholesterol, we have new reasons why you may want to reach for margarine. Jennifer and I will have your first look at all the day's news next.
Solve your problems. Your adult.
Hi, everybody. Good evening. I'm Jennifer Valapi.
And I'm Steve Daniels. Coming up next year on NBC6, she endured years of threatening phone calls. Now her alleged stalker is caught. But this South Florida mother still fears for her life. We'll tell you why.
And new controversy over police pursuits after a car thief runs a red light and kills an innocent child.
Also, it's a disturbing and smelly sight. Find out why hundreds of dead fish are floating in South Florida ponds and canals.
Plus, have you ever dreamt about being in your very own TV show? Well, that dream could come true, at least for some people. See how you can become an overnight star. We'll be right back.
You're watching WTVJ NBC6, where the news comes first. This is Channel 6 News at 5.
Imagine somebody saying to you they've cut your child's tongue out. How terrible that would be.
The frightening phone calls came at all hours of the day and night. Now the woman terrorized for more than 20 years comes face to face with her alleged telephone stalker. Good evening, everyone. I'm Steve Daniels.
And I'm Jennifer Valapi. Now, even though the calls have stopped and the alleged stalker has been arrested, Susan Billig is still afraid. And tonight she's telling her story to NBC6 reporter Alicia Ortega. Alicia is here now with an exclusive one-on-one interview and some new information about her alleged harasser. Alicia.
Jennifer, for years, detectives have been on the trail of this phone stalker who identified himself to Susan Billig as Johnson. That happens to be the suspect's middle name. Receiving as many as 7 calls in one night, Billig recorded some of those calls. Prosecutors plan to use them to convict Henry Johnson Blair. Steve?
Alicia, we'll look for your follow-up report. Thank you. Police have just released the name of a man found dead near a Hallandale convenience store this morning. His name is Robert Livolisi, and he is from Hallandale. A truck driver discovered his body next to a dumpster this morning. Detectives scoured the area for clues and found a wallet close to the victim. Tonight, police have no motive and no suspects.
Well, there's new controversy tonight over a fatal police pursuit that ended with the arrest of a robbery suspect and the death of an innocent child. It started when police spotted a stolen car at Northwest 6th Avenue and 62nd Street in Liberty City. A chase ensued, and moments later, the fatal crash occurred. NBC6 reporter Michael Williams is live in Liberty City with both sides of the story for us. Michael?
First of all, Jennifer, we're at the accident scene at Northwest 58th Street and Northwest 10th Avenue. What ended up happening was that a little boy, 9-year-old Rodney LeCount, died after a collision occurred when a stolen car ran from police. That happened here. The white Nissan Sentra that you see in the video here in just a moment is the car that Rodney LeCount was in, one of 6 people in that Sentra. Now, some neighbors say that 2 undercover police cars, which were part of a violent crime task force, one with the Florida Department of Law Enforcement, one with the Metro-Dade Police, gave chase. You're looking right now at a suspect who was in the stolen car. Again, more at 6. Reporting live from Miami, Michael Williams, NBC6.
It is a tragic story, Michael. We'll look for your follow-up report at 6. Thank you. Well, he's been on the run for a week, but tonight the missing husband of a Utah congresswoman has surrendered.
That's pretty interesting. It didn't seem like it was that cold.
Not cold enough. You'd think the poor fish could still breathe.
Well, coming up, the alarm goes out and more than 30 fire companies are called in just ahead. A huge inferno lights up the night. We're going to tell you what made it burn so bright and made it so hard to fight.
And a huge wall of ice and snow comes crashing down a mountain. Find out how this couple survived when 50 of their fellow climbers did not.
Also, MTV comes to Miami looking for some new talent. Coming up, we're going to tell you what it takes to be a real part of the real world.
And ahead at 5:30, there's brand new ammunition for people fighting the war against fat. We'll tell you how you can arm yourself for a healthier lifestyle when we come back.
A section of Long Island was burning out of control for a while last night when a warehouse that stored uncut bathroom tissue caught on fire. It took hundreds of firefighters from more than 30 departments over 6 hours to put the fire out.
In health news, butter and margarine have a high fat content and are generally thought to be unhealthy. But now scientists say they've created a margarine that may actually be good for you.
So it is the weekend. It is upon us, and the man of the hour is here right now.
And we all want to know what the weather's going to be like for the weekend. Brian.
Well, we got a couple clouds out there, but not all bad. Let's take a look outside right now as we look from Mount Sinai Medical Center back across Biscayne Bay. And you see the breaks in the clouds. It's going to be kind of like this tomorrow, I think. We'll have periods of good sunshine, and you might have kind of a dark cloud come by, but look at the beautiful sunset there underneath of that deck of clouds. It's going to be a nice evening for the most part, although I can't rule out a little shower moving in later on. All right, we'll see you at 5:30, Steve, Jennifer.
Terrific, Brian. Thank you. So, how would you like to live on South Beach, launch your own business, and have your every move filmed for television?
Wow, sounds like a pretty good deal. I don't know about the TV cameras all around, but if that sounds like a dream come true for you, MTV wants you. NBC6 lifestyle and entertainment reporter Bo Griffin is back today. Joins us again with a look at this story.
Oh, this is going to be pretty unreal, actually. They call it the real world, but pretty much unreal. But I want you to forget about Los Angeles and never mind New York. South Florida is where it's at, and we're shining in the spotlight once again. Miami Beach is the brand new set for MTV's, I should say, hit show, The Real World. And some lucky young adults are about to become shining new stars.
I don't know if you've ever seen the show, but it really is, I mean, they are all over you day and night. I mean, they really enter your whole world.
Exactly. I mean, they're talking about Big Brother is watching, MTV is watching.
Absolutely.
And a lot of other viewers out there. Thanks, Bo.
Thank you.
Well, a fugitive on the run for years is captured right here in South Florida. That story is coming up.
Plus, the area's hottest high school football teams do battle at the gridiron tonight. Joe Rose is next with that.
And now, Channel 6 Sports.
Are you ready for some playoff football? No, not the NFL playoffs. High school playoffs. The football stars of tomorrow are ready to lead their schools to the state championship. And NBC6's Craig Minervini puts the spotlight on a couple of local hopefuls.
For the first time in 25 years, Plantation's football team is undefeated.
Well, they're pretty tough, but they're awfully cute, aren't they?
Absolutely. Thanks a lot for joining us for the news at 5 here. There's much more news to come now here on NBC6.
And now we've got Jose Diaz-Balart with a look at what's coming up in our next half hour. Hello, Jose.
Hello, Jennifer. Steve, losing weight could soon be a lot easier. Up next, you may soon get 2 new weapons in the war on fat. Details coming up. Also tonight, he's been on the run for more than 2 years. Now this doctor is behind bars in Miami accused of molesting children. Plus, deadbeat parents get a surprise wake-up call. We'll show you the latest crackdown on parents who refuse to pay. And do you believe in miracles? Our historic theater in South Florida is getting a new lease on life. You'll see the amazing rebirth of a landmark.
You're watching WTVJ NBC6, where the news comes first. This is Channel 6 News at 5:30.
People don't understand, and they tell you that, you know, just have willpower, just stop eating. Why can't you just do that?
You've tried changing your diet, even exercising to no end. Now losing weight could get a lot easier. A new diet pill and a new form of fake fat are weighing in as new weapons in the battle of the bulge. Good evening, everyone. I'm Jackie Nesbro.
And I'm Jose Diaz-Balart. Being overweight can not only make you lose your self-esteem, but in some cases, it could kill you. That's why the FDA is considering 2 new products to help you battle the bulge. We begin tonight with the new diet pill, and NBC6 health specialist Ileana Bravo is here with the details. Ileana.
Jose, this could be the diet pill of the future. Jackie?
Very interesting, Ileana. Thank you very much. Well, the diet pill isn't the only weapon the FDA is considering to help you battle the bulge. As early as tonight, it may give the go-ahead for Olestra, a calorie-free artificial oil. If approved, it will be used in the preparation of potato chips and other fried snacks.
A fugitive doctor is in jail in Miami tonight, arrested on charges of child molestation. NBC6 reporter Sandra Peebles is live in the newsroom with the details. Sandra.
Well, Jose, he's been on the run for more than 2 years, but Dr. Thurman Dabb's life as a fugitive ended when a routine check by airport customs officers revealed an arrest warrant. Now Dr. Thurman Dabbs will be spending... Live in the newsroom, Sandra Peebles, NBC6.
All right, Sandra, thank you very much. Well, they can run, but they cannot hide. Metro-Dade police clean house in a deadbeat parent sweep. Well, the government shutdown in Washington is now affecting students from South Florida. Find out how the trip took a very different turn and who's helping them have a good time anyway.
Also tonight, this man and woman help raise money for your child's education. I think we're going to see them right now. We'll tell you what happened when they come back to class for a day.
And the world's most famous polar bears dive into their new digs. Klondike and Snow's debut in Orlando, coming up.
These guys.
It is now the longest government shutdown in history, and Republicans and Democrats remain at an impasse over funding. But a Florida senator saved the day, and as NBC6 reporter Ari Odzer shows you, the group not only got a complete government tour, they also got a crash course in TV satellites.
You enjoy Washington?
Government shutdown? Who cares? The kids from Quiet Waters Elementary had a great week in Washington.
What's the most exciting thing you've seen since you've been here?
Snow.
With help from a satellite and the NBC station in Washington, WRC, the kids and their parents were able to talk to each other.
Well, Matthew, how was it going to the Senate last night?
Yeah, half of the time I didn't know what they were talking about, but...
Don't worry, neither do we.
WRC gave the kids a tour of NBC's Washington studios, and more importantly to the fifth graders, gave them pizza. Because of the government shutdown, the kids missed out on the Smithsonian and on a White House tour, but saw other things to make up for the loss.
I was disappointed at first, but everything seems to have worked out so very well. It may have even been better than the original plan.
Good evening. I'm Tony Segreto, live in the NBC6 newsroom. Here are some news stories you'll be seeing tonight at 6 o'clock. A violent two-car automobile crash kills a little boy and sends a pregnant woman into labor. And the worst part about this is they were hit by the driver of a stolen car. We're going to take you there live. Also, if you're planning to visit this South Florida tourist attraction this weekend, we're going to tell you why you need to make other plans. And the presidency three Republican convention kicks off in Orlando today, but the biggest player is missing. We're going to go there live. That's coming up in just a few minutes on NBC6 at 6 o'clock.
Brian, the big question, of course, is are we going to have a nice weekend?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. All right, that's it, Jose and Jackie.
Brian, thank you very much.
Well, the Florida Lottery is supposed to pump millions of dollars into public schools across the state.
And while education officials debate what to do with all the money, the hosts of a popular new lottery show spent some time in South Florida in a classroom this week. NBC6 reporter Nana Rosa has a story.
J.D. Roberto and Heather Alexander make a living teaching their audience how to play the Flamingo fortune game. Nana Rosa, NBC6.
And don't forget, you can catch J.D. and Heather on Saturday nights on Flamingo Fortune right here on NBC6 at 5:30.
All right, up next, the curtain is about to go up at the newly renovated Miracle Theater.
We'll take you backstage when we come back.
You know what? I think it's really exciting to have
a wonderful thing. It really is.
South Florida.
I wish them all the best.
Well, there's lots more to come on NBC6.
Here's Jennifer Valapi with a look ahead. Jennifer.
Thank you, guys. Next at 6 o'clock, a stolen car crash leaves a little boy dead and sends a pregnant woman into labor. And tonight, police procedure is under fire. We're live on the scene. One of South Florida's most popular tourist attractions is shutting down.
I'm Ed O'Dell live in Everglades National Park. If you're thinking about coming down here tomorrow, well, forget it. I'll tell you why.
Also ahead, a special report hiding from the IRS. You've seen how IRS problems can drive people to do the unthinkable things, but it happens more than you actually do think.
I just kept getting deeper and deeper and deeper. I didn't know how to get out of it.
Tonight, financial expert Meg Green examines why those who owe become so desperate and how you can avoid falling into this dangerous trap. And have you checked out your backyard lake or canal lately? You just might find this. Details next on NBC6.
You're watching WTVJ NBC6, where the news comes first. This is Channel 6 News at 6.
2 cars, 8 people, and an impact at high speed. Tonight, an innocent victim was killed during a stolen car crash. Good evening, everyone. I'm Jennifer Valapi.
And I'm Tony Segreto. The innocent victim, a 9-year-old boy. And tonight, some say he died because police engaged in a dangerous chase. It all happened in Miami near Northwest 10th Avenue and 58th Street. And that's where we join NBC6 reporter Michael Williams with the very latest. Good evening, Michael.
Good evening, Tony. Recriminations flying, but police insist there was no chase. More on that in a moment. Here is the accident scene, Northwest 58th Street and Northwest 10th Avenue. A little boy dies. He is one of 6 people in a Nissan, and it is slammed into by a stolen car, which was trying to run away from police. Police say the stolen Pontiac Grand Prix collided with a small Nissan Sentra. 6 people were in the Nissan, including 9-year-old Rodney LeCount. Also, police are still looking, they say, for the driver of that stolen car at this hour. If and when he is found, he, like the other suspect, could face felony murder charges. Reporting live from Miami, Michael Williams, NBC6.
Michael, thank you. And while officers in this case denied chasing the suspects, the crash is putting a spotlight on other areas on police chases.
Yeah, absolutely. So just when is it okay for officers to give chase and possibly put the lives of innocent people at risk? Well, NBC6 has obtained the policies of several South Florida agencies. We've talked with the Miami Police Department, Metro-Dade Police, Broward Sheriffs, and Florida Highway Patrol. And the bottom line is, for all of these agencies, that officers will not give chase unless they believe the suspects have committed or are about to commit a violent felony. That would include murder, rape, or robbery.
NBC6 reporter Ed Odell is live at the park entrance with more. Ed?
Tony, the long shadow of the federal government has cast an economic dark cloud on this area of private enterprise called Flamingo, 38 miles inside Everglades National Park on the shores of Florida Bay. The people who rent boats and hotel rooms, give guided tours, and sell food are being told to kick the tourists out and go home without a job and a paycheck. Needless to say, no one is happy with the federal government here. Nearing the height of the season, only 23 of 127 rooms at Flamingo Lodge are occupied. Reporting live from Everglades National Park, I'm Ed Odell, NBC6.
All right, Ed, thank you. And when a government shutdown makes the going tough, the tough kids get going. We've been telling you about a group of fifth graders from Deerfield Beach. And because of the government shutdown, presidential candidate Bob Dole is missing part of a very big weekend here in Florida.
That's right. As you know, Dole was supposed to participate in a mock presidential convention and straw poll along with the rest of the Republican candidates. It's all happening in Orlando, and that's where we join NBC6 reporter Nick Bogert with more. Nick?
Well, Tony, there were supposed to be 9 Republican contenders debating up on that stage tonight, but now Bob Dole won't make it. Looks like Steve Forbes has bowed out, and Senators Lugar, Specter, and Graham are going to appear, we hear, by satellite from Washington. Still, expect all the candidates here tomorrow. When the vote's actually taken, they'll be wooing the 3,400 Florida Republicans who are gathering here for what's being called a kickoff for Campaign 96. The big event tonight, 9 to 11, the debate, and we'll have more on that for you live at 11. For now, we're live in Orlando. Nick Bogert, NBC6.
Nick, thank you very much.
And there's a new player in the South Florida Arena Sweepstakes.
We're a group of businessmen in Broward County that want to come forward and show that the businessmen of Broward County really want to put their money where their mouth is.
So, can this group save South Florida sports? The story is next.
If you smell something fishy in your neighborhood, we may know why.
Also, what pushes people over the edge when it comes to owing the IRS?
I can see why people can get to a point of desperation.
Financial expert Meg Green shows us how to stop IRS breakdowns before they happen. Stay with us. We'll be right back. South Florida's struggle to keep 2 sports franchises has just taken a new twist now. A Broward businessman is working on a proposal that he says can help solve the arena battle and keep the Panthers and the Heat in South Florida. But as NBC6 senior correspondent Ike Siemens reports, it may be a little too late.
Coral Springs insurance man Larry Scher thinks if this group can help him raise $20 million, maybe that would help pay for a new arena in Broward.
But economically, it is just choke every month, you know, and that's what.
Now, if Broward County can build a new arena, Huizenga has said he will pay operating costs, but a new arena could take years. The Panthers owner says he's losing $1 million a month playing in the inadequate Miami arena. Tony?
All right, Ike, thank you. Well, dead fish are washing up in several Broward neighborhoods, and that means residents could soon be dealing with a very smelly situation. Now, over the past 2 days, dead fish have been spotted in 6 Broward cities, including Plantation.
Most people fill out their tax returns every year, and whether you owe or get a refund, life goes on.
But unfortunately, it's not that simple for some people, and they snap under the pressure of owing taxes. NBC6 financial expert Meg Green is here now with some ideas on how to avoid going over the edge.
Well, Tony, paying taxes is one of the few constants in life, but for some people, it is a nightmare. They owe back taxes, the debt looms large, and they just don't know what to do about it. And we will be talking a little bit more on this. It's a frustrating subject tomorrow morning at 9 a.m.
Yeah, it sure is.
It's scary, but don't despair. There are ways out, and you got to find the ways out. Don't get desperate.
Okay,
all right, Meg. Thank you.
Thank you.
And now we're going to turn over to Brian Norcross and see what's coming up this weekend. We have, what, 1 good day or 2 good days?
I don't think tomorrow's going to be, like, awful.
Okay.
But then again, no, it's probably pretty much okay. Not terrible, but a few of those clouds you saw out there today are going to stay with us tomorrow. Take a look out there tonight. For the most part, it's going to be a nice evening, but with the breeze coming in from the ocean now. All right, we'll see you at 11. Jennifer.
Thank you, Brian. And tonight at 11 o'clock, surprising results of our NBC6 investigation, Low Fat or Fantasy. Susan Wallace has a preview of her report, and some major changes, I guess, are coming up.
Major changes. You've probably been to many restaurants that offer light menus.
Absolutely.
Well, the menu may say low fat, but our investigation reveals more of a fantasy. We bought 20 meals billed as low fat from some South Florida restaurants. Then we had them tested at a government-certified lab. The results topped the fat chart, and now restaurant owners are feeling the heat. You just promised to clean up your act?
I promised to clean up my act.
Tonight at 11, we'll show you our test results, and we'll tell you about those changes started because of our investigation.
Well, that's good to hear, huh?
Looking forward to that. Thanks, Susan. We're going to talk sports when we come back.
Stay tuned.
And here is this week's cultural calendar. The 1995 Harvest Festival is going on all weekend at the Dade County Youth Fairgrounds. What's being touted as the world's largest indoor flea market is open throughout the weekend at the Miami Beach Convention Center, and singer Chris Isaak will take the stage at the Sunrise Musical Theater tonight, and Joe Rose and I will be at the Dan Marino 24-hour relay this weekend up at Markham Park in Fort Lauderdale.
Ah, there you go. Check it out.
Oh, yeah.
Speaking of Joe Rose, here he is. Hi, Joe.
Hello there. Saturday morning, 10 o'clock. The University of Miami needs a win over these guys tomorrow to keep its bowl hopes alive. And that will do it for Sports Tony. It'll be a fun week, and I'm looking forward to seeing you tomorrow morning at the park for the Dan Marino relays.
That's right. 10 o'clock.
10 o'clock, I'll be there, I promise.
Be there. David Damian's band will also be there. The Bonding of the Dogs will kick things off with a 24-hour relay.
What an event, and I wasn't invited.
Well,
NBC Nightly News.
you told me you've seen David play before. I don't know.
See you at 11. Good night.
The House cheers a balanced budget bill, but cheers won't hold off a presidential veto. The patience of the people is wearing very thin. Olestra, the artificial fat, a giant step forward for this breakthrough. Tonight's Fleecing of America, flying Air Force cadets as cheering sections at taxpayer expense in depth. And our Americans close up a San Diego couple escaping death in killer Himalayan avalanches.
From NBC News, this is NBC Nightly News with Tom Brokaw.
Good evening. There are new signs of life in Washington tonight. Talk about compromise and the government shutdown. And before this night is out, it is expected that there will be final passage of the overall budget bill. The House today did pass a bill to balance the budget in 7 years with major cutbacks in big government programs and a tax cut of $245 million. It's expected to pass the Senate tonight, but then it hits a wall. The president will veto, and as of now, Republicans don't have the votes to override. Here's NBC's Lisa Myers.
Tonight, oh no, OJ. We catch the women keeping him company as his case plays out in court. Is it over? The latest on the reported breakup of Michael and Lisa Marie. That Seinfeld guy. You heard him last night, but you've never met him until now.
Hello, and welcome to Hard Topic.
It's Friday, November 17th, 1995, and this is Dateline NBC. Tonight.
This is not the Playboy Channel or pay-per-view porn. On one system, this is basic cable.
It infuriates me that nobody is stopping the children from being exposed to this.
Dateline with Jane Pauley and Stone Phillips, plus Tom Brokaw, Katie Couric, Bryant Gumbel, and Maria Shriver. From Studio 3B in New York, here is Stone Phillips.
Good evening.
I'm Tony Segreto. Next at 11, the government moves one step closer to approving a new fake fat. Before you eat another low-fat restaurant meal, watch our investigation. Low fat or fantasy? The news is next.
You're watching WTVJ NBC6, where the news comes first. This is Channel 6 News at 11.
800,000 government workers off the job. Dozens of federal parks and monuments closed, leaving even the youngest sightseers out in the cold. But tonight, 4 days into the shutdown, word there may be a deal in the works. Good evening, everyone. I'm Tony Segreto.
And I'm Jennifer Valapi. Now, we begin tonight with several late-breaking developments on day 4 of the government shutdown. Congress sets the stage for another showdown with the White House as administration officials meet privately with GOP leaders trying to end the stalemate. NBC6 reporter Kerry Sanders is monitoring all of this from the newsroom. Kerry?
Well, those meetings just broke up, but without any agreement. And that means at this point, the record government shutdown will continue. The Republicans continue to say they want a balanced budget in 7 years. Tony?
Thank you, Kerry. Well, the partial government shutdown has closed hundreds of national parks, and that includes Everglades National Park, which will not be open for the weekend.
This is the GOP's Presidency 3 convention. Got started in Orlando tonight. That's where NBC6 political reporter Nick Bogert joins us live. Nick?
Jennifer, the last of the delegates just cruising out of the Orange County Convention Center here from a debate, a kind of an odd debate because the number of participants kept growing over the 2 hours. It's hard to say how it's going to affect tomorrow's vote of some 3,400 Florida Republicans, but a lot of those straw vote delegates got a chance to see 9 candidates in 2 cities go at each other. Some delegates came to the debate unsure they'd even see their candidate. Just 3 contenders starting out, but a Washington studio filled after the big budget vote Bob Dole said was a triumph, even if it's vetoed. We're live in Orlando. We'll be tomorrow for the vote. Nick Bogert, NBC6.
Okay, we'll see you then, Nick. Thank you. And meanwhile, after being on the run for a week now, the missing husband of a Utah congresswoman has surrendered. 32-year-old Joel Waldholtz gave himself up to police in Washington, D.C. this morning. We're counting already.
Oh, boy. Up next, important tips to help all of us get the most from our Christmas cash.
And if you can't wait for better tasting fat-free potato chips,
it's easy for you to say.
Your wait could soon be over.
Speaking of fat, fat in restaurant meals is the subject of an NBC6 investigation. Tonight, we have the lowdown on their low-fat claims.
This is not the way it's supposed to be.
He's not the only restaurant owner taking the heat. Our investigation, low fat or fantasy, coming up next on NBC6. Well, Thanksgiving is less than a week away.
But that's not getting in the way of Christmas, thank you very much.
No, not at all.
And every business seems to be fighting for a piece of your Christmas cash. Tonight as the season starts, NBC6 reporter Danielle Knox shows us how to have a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.
Jingle bell, jingle bell, jingle bell rock.
Yes, you're hearing right. That's holiday music. And that's Bobby Helms, the originator of the Jingle Bell Rock, rocking in the season. Didn't we just do this?
It gets earlier every year. Retailers are out to extend the season as much as they can.
And Julie Goldman admits it's beginning pretty early at the Coral Square Mall in Coral Springs.
Well, no doubt you've eaten in a local restaurant that offers a low-fat menu, right?
So the question is it really low-fat or is it just fantasy? NBC6 reporter Susan Wallace is here with the surprising results of her investigation.
They surprised us, and let me tell you, they shocked some local restaurant owners. So much so that changes are already underway. Menus are currently being reprinted. Now, when you're looking at low-fat menus, as we found, it is diners beware.
I just feel it'll probably be low-fat, low-calorie. It'd be a healthier meal.
But that's not what we found in an NBC6 investigation of some restaurant food billed as low in fat.
You actually end up with fat?
We end up with fat, as you can see down here.
A USDA-certified lab in Miami tested 20 samples from 9 restaurants for fat content. The results may shock you. They certainly caught some restaurants off guard.
Basically, what I say is I'm sorry.
Olive Garden apologizes for failing our low-fat test. It's capellini pomodoro, supposed to have just 5 grams of fat. Our sample was more than double at nearly 13 grams of fat.
What we've done from this point, once you've called this to our attention, is we have reviewed the recipe procedures with all of the restaurants in South Florida.
At Ruby Tuesday, our investigation actually prompted owners to pull one selection off the light menu. The chicken stir-fry we ordered, which is supposed to have 9 grams of fat, came back in our test at nearly 16 grams of fat. Put simply by a company spokesperson, if we can't get it right, we won't put it on the menu. You'd think if restaurants make low-fat claims on their menu, someone would hold their feet to the fire. Someone like the Food and Drug Administration. Well, the FDA does not yet regulate low-fat menu claims. Even so, an industry trade association warns restaurants that for the sake of business, watch out, because journalists and others may scrutinize.
We have warned our members that they are being watched and that they should check and recheck and try to make sure that their labels are accurate.
3 of the restaurants we tested were right on the money, including fast food favorites McDonald's and Taco Bell. The items from Bennigan's also came in okay. But one sample from competitor TGI Fridays hit the high end of the low-fat chart. The Pacific Coast chicken is supposed to have 22 grams of fat, but our sample tested at 36.5 grams of fat. In a letter to NBC6, Fridays said it immediately corrected the situation by, quote, reviewing with the cooks the step-by-step procedures for cooking all items, end of quotation. Denny's says it has done the same thing. After we tested a California grilled chicken salad with light dressing, the claim, 14.3 grams. It tested more than a third higher at nearly 20 grams of fat. Almost all the restaurants that tested higher than their claims guarantee changes. You just promised to clean up your act?
I promise to clean up my act.
In our testing, Roasters and Toasters in Miami takes the cake for the most inaccurate fat claims. The low-fat veggie lasagna, billed as having only 4.5 grams of fat, the sample we tested was anything but low-fat. Ours had 32.5 grams of fat, 8 times the amount the restaurant claims.
This is quite a bit different from the lasagna that you saw on your first visit when you purchased it.
Well, it's about a quarter of the size. Yeah. Berger, like many other restaurateurs in our investigation, says portion size, not ingredients, is usually the problem. The larger the portion, the fatter the meal.
Gets down to common sense.
One dietitian we shared our results with says diners have a right and responsibility to demand better if they're serious about eating low fat.
Dealing with the restaurant, the consumer has to take charge because the FDA police are not going to be there.
There is one other item to tell you about. Chili's guiltless chicken salad tested high enough that the company had 3 more samples retested, and they say those samples turned out okay. Now, in the meantime, you need to know that the FDA is writing new rules and regulations regarding low-fat labeling, but we are told those regulations and rules are so specific that it may actually scare restaurants into taking those labels off altogether. They're just not going to risk it. In the meantime, let me show you what is now hanging in the window at Roasters and Toasters. Thank you, NBC6 TV. It's basically an acknowledgement by owner Al Berger that, in fact, the samples we bought were high in fat, and he has certainly cleaned up his act in the meantime, and he's trying to reassure his customers that low fat is low fat.
We applaud him. And with the weekend coming up, how is one, if they go out this weekend, to look out?
Cautiously, but you can also tune in this time Monday night. If you are interested in tips on dining out, Ileana Bravo will sit in this seat and tell you on her Fat-Free Monday segment what to choose on a menu, what to watch out for.
Okay. Susan, thank you. Fascinating.
And of course, there's always one other option, and that's Brian Norcross's 60% diet. We've been hearing about this for the last couple days.
That's right. You throw away 40% of the food, you eat 60%, and you're better off every time. Isn't it nice to see somebody, though, that does it right? You know, when they screw up, then they come on and say, we screwed up.
That's right.
A refreshing man, you know. He could run, you ought to run some kind of a consulting agency.
That's right.
And it's a blame society, isn't it?
It is true.
Well, Klondike and Snow made quite a splash, literally, as they went public for the first time at SeaWorld.
Cool video. Look at this. Isn't it great how they swim underwater like that? The huge crowds didn't stop the cuddly pair from going for a good morning swim inside their personal wild Arctic exhibit. Sunday night, they arrived on a charter plane from Denver. That's where they were born.
SeaWorld is their permanent home, but if you don't hurry, the bears will grow from their current 200 pounds to about 1,500 when fully grown. So they're still pups, I guess.
Look how they dive.
That's something, huh?
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
What neat video. They're such beautiful animals.
Absolutely. And we have literally watched them grow, haven't we?
Yeah, and they look so cuddly. Yeah. Little do we, you know, they're most vicious animals on the face of the earth, but they look so cuddly. Anyway.
That's the Channel 6 News at 11. Jay Leno is next.
And be sure to tune in to Today in South Florida tomorrow morning. We'll see you on Monday and stay here this weekend. Good night, everybody. Good night.